Closing statements. Plaintiff's closing statement. Society expects more than this from auditors. We expect auditors to maintain an attitude of professional skepticism in dealing with their clients. We expect auditors to take any irregularities in their clients' internal control procedures seriously, as such measures are in place to prevent fraudulent activities such as the ones that led to material misstatements in Clovatec Inc.'s financial statements. The auditor admits that an employee of Clovatec raised a concern about the internal controls established by top management, but the auditor dismissed the individual on the basis that other employees didn't feel the same way. Did they stop to think that the people they are interviewing are likely to be the exact people perpetrating fraud? Of course, the auditor relied on professional judgment to make their decision, but how are we to know whether they made this judgment responsibly and not out of their own self-interest? Auditors are being paid to perform their services, and they have been known to downplay issues they find so that they are hired again for the next year. In conclusion, ABC CPA firm clearly did not live up to society's expectations and should be held accountable for their actions. Because of the auditor's negligent actions, the stockholders lost $100 million through their investment. Therefore, I urge you to find ABC CPA firm liable for negligent misrepresentation. I also urge you to require the auditors to compensate these stockholders for their losses and punish the auditors for not doing their job. Defendant closing statement. The plaintiff has told you that ABC CPA firm made some mistakes in its audit of the 2007 financial statements of Clovatec Inc., specifically in their evaluation of internal controls. It is now up to you to evaluate whether the actions taken by ABC CPA firm were actually negligent according to the laws and regulations established in the U.S. Is it negligent to follow commonly used judgmental procedures in determining the impact of internal control deficiencies? Is it negligent to go above and beyond reporting guidelines and disclose internal control issues that are deemed by the auditor to be important? This is clearly not a case of negligent misrepresentation. Moreover, auditing standards require nothing more than these actions. The fact of the matter is that ABC CPA firm made a difficult decision when evaluating whether the deficiency in internal controls established by top management at Clovatec Inc. could create material errors in the financial statements. It is well known in practice that this particular control deficiency is very difficult to evaluate because it requires the auditor to rely on their perceptions about a situation based on interviews. If the auditor had the ability to collect additional evidence in this case that would allow them to rely less on individual perceptions, they certainly would have done so. However, this is not the case because evaluating the internal controls established by top management is very subjective, and the auditor was forced to make a decision based on their professional judgment about the situation. It is not the auditor's fault that they could not collect other types of evidence that would rely less on their professional judgment. The evidence the auditor collected clearly indicated to them at the time that there wasn't a larger issue with the account. The fact that their opinion was wrong is irrelevant. Audits cannot possibly assure that the financial statements are 100% accurate. ABC CPA firm performed an audit that complies with and even surpasses auditing standards. The auditor even voluntarily provided a disclosure of the internal control deficiency in their report, which is not required by standards. It is clear that ABC CPA firm is not liable for negligent misrepresentation. The plaintiff has failed to demonstrate otherwise. Accordingly, I urge you to find ABC CPA firm not liable for negligent misrepresentation.